Hey folks, Bill here for Destructoid.com. I got to check out Killing Floor 2, and I want to tell you about the things that I saw in the game when they showed it to me. A couple of things about KF2 right off the bat. The graphics are hugely updated. I wouldn't say they're, top tier for today's standards, but they're definitely a wide margin from how they used to look, and I think it looks quite nice. The clots, because all the monsters are naked, and the clots have very nice looking butt cheeks, very, shiny and gross. I think that's pretty cool. Overall, it looks very much modernized. I mean, the original Killing Floor is so many years old that this is a much welcome update. So the Tripwire Interactive, they have this like creed for developing Killing Floor 2. It's like a trifecta that they call bullets, blades, and blood. And I figured I'd just break down the information about the game into those three sections. So first up, we've got bullets. Of the guns that they were showing off during the presentation, I noticed some coming back from the first one, like the Scar and the AA-12. They actually announced that the perks, which I'm going to refer to as classes, because that makes more sense to me anyway, in Killing Floor 2, each class will start out the match with a primary weapon relevant to their class, so you won't just start out with pistols and knives anymore. Killing Floor 2 has a lot of detail in the guns, like, there are little, like, strap clips and little doodads and stuff on the guns that will move in real time. Actually, they were telling us that rendering guns that have rapid automatic fire in 30 frames per second is problematic. So what they've done is they're actually rendering the gunfire animations in 200 frames per second, which I'm like, I don't even understand. But as they're showing it off, the animations are really, really smooth. You can see the actual barrel of the gun wobbling as the gun's shooting because, they do that in actuality. And when it kicks in Z time, like, you really notice the attention to detail that they put into these gun animations. Like, it looks super realistic. Just in case you don't know, Z time is the slow motion effect that happens sometimes, like randomly when you kill a Z in Killing Floor. And they've made some adjustments to it in Killing Floor 2, and now makes things look kind of slightly monochromatic, but the blood is like really vibrant red. You can actually see the bullets, whizzing through the air, and they have like a distortion wave behind them, which looks pretty cool. Next up, we have blades. The Tripwire is saying that they wanted to put a much heavier focus on melee in Killing Floor 2. It was there in Killing Floor 1, but it was kind of really primitive as far as controls and effects go. They said that there will be a range of melee weapons, like sledgehammers and baseball bats or whatever, but they were just showing off a katana while I was there. The katana looked really nice, and it had some really cool little added touches to it. For melee weapons, you actually have a draw strike. So like if you have your pistol out, you can hit a certain button, and if you have a katana in your inventory, you'll pull the katana out and cut a Z in half, theoretically. Oh, but what happens when your katana gets all bloody from cutting all those dudes up? Well, if you press the reload button, it flicks the blood off the blade, and if your blade is clean and you flick the reload button, you do a little blade twirl thing. And now, onto blood. So they were saying that they really wanted to focus on making Killing Floor 2 a very gross, gory, nasty, sick, nasty game. They have this system for the game which they call MEAT, which apparently stands for massive evisceration and trauma. But it refers to a couple things. First up, they've added a huge amount of dismemberment to this game. So there's maybe a dozen points of articulation for the dismemberment. You could shoot, you could shoot someone's hand off at the wrist, you can shoot their forearm off, you can shoot their, all this off. The head actually has 4 points of dismemberment, so you can shoot like half of a clot's face off, and like his skull will be exposed. And then, if you kill him, because you can still dismember them after you kill them now, you can shoot the rest of the half of his head off, and you'll see like a cross section of his brain. It's real nasty. In Z time, you can shoot the Zeds and shoot half their torso off, and then they're in the air, and you can if you have like a shotgun or something, shoot them again, and you're like juggling them, and pieces are falling off, and it's real gross and awesome. They also have persistent blood rendering, which in layman's terms means if you shed blood in the map, that blood will be there for the entire match, no matter what happens. Like you can if you kill a bunch of Zeds in one room, you could paint a room with blood, and it will remain there the entire match. Apparently this has no significant impact on performance whatever. So, blood everywhere, blood for miles, blood for days. Drink it up. So a couple other things that are different in Killing Floor 2. The classes, or perks as they're officially known, now have skills. So every 5 levels, up to level 25 I think, you unlock a skill branch. It's kind of like XCOM. Like you reach each level and you have 2 choices between a skill, so you can kind of choose which way you want your character to specialize. For instance, I don't know that this is actually one, but like if you're playing Commando, there might be a skill level where it's like, do you want, you know, more accuracy with hip fire on automatic weapons, or do you want more damage on single shot weapons, that kind of thing. One thing I noticed is when they, you know, after the wave was over, they went to talk to the trader, and instead of the trader being this woman with a weird juxtaposition of streetwise rudeness and awkward flirting, it's a machine. The way they explained it, this machine is like a super advanced version of like a 3D printer. Apparently there will be a person behind it at some point, but it'll just be like a face on a screen, and you won't actually be running around to some teleporting magical genie trader. Tripwire is also putting a huge emphasis on the difficulty scale for the game. They obviously want new players to be able to play on easy and hardcore players to not get bored on Hell on Earth mode. But also, instead of just having enemies' health scale with the difficulties, the enemies will actually use different abilities on different difficulty levels and use other, you know, certain abilities more often. And finally, they showed off a teaser for a short film relating to Killing Floor being produced by a horror movie company called Type AB. I'm gonna be honest, this didn't really interest me that much. In the teaser, all I saw was a guy in, you know, medical gear running from some Zeds, and he's shooting at him and getting in an elevator. And if that's your kind of thing, more power to you, but I just want to play the game. There's no release date for Killing Floor 2 yet. I was talking to some of the guys, and it seems like their ethos is that the game will be ready when it's ready and not before then, and I'm all about that because I'd rather play a great game than a timely game. For all your video game news and reviews and previews and stuff like that, you can go to Destructoid.com for more videos like this. Subscribe to this channel. I'm Bill Zoker. That's a cat.